Welcome to staunchsystems.com. In this video I'm going to show you how to set up dotnetnuke website on a Staunch hosting web server. To prepare to host, we want to do three things. We want to set up our database, set up the website and the control panel, and set up our DNS. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to godaddy.com. We're going to go to our domain manager, manage my domain, and we're going to pull it up. And we're going to go to Total DNS Manager. Now, some domain registrars will allow a generic, like the root domain on thefly.com, to point to a host name. If you can, you want the root domain and www alias to both point to cp.staunchhosting.com. If for some reason you can't do that, like in GoDaddy, then point to our primary fiber line, which is 70.168.88.34, and then use the www alias and point that to cp.staunchhosting.com. What this will do, you'll get failover protection in case of an internet connection failure on one of our ISPs. Obviously, if you're pointing directly to an IP, you're not going to get any internet failover protection because each ISP has their own bank of IPs. If you're using us for hosting with mail, you want to set up your host to go to mail.staunchhosting.com and your mail to go to mail.staunchhosting.com. You also want to add an SPF record, and you want to say an ISP or other mail provider, and go to outsourced, and you're just going to type in mail.staunchhosting.com and hit OK, and that'll give you set up your mail accounts as well. The next thing we're going to want to do is verify the settings inside the control panel. So we're going to go to cp.staunchhosting.com, and for security purposes I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, log in, and access that section of the video site. Okay, so now that we're in the web hosting email group of the Schultz-Crehan site, we're going to go ahead and set up a domain. If you're creating a new site, then the domain will already be there, because when you create a new account using the commerce server, it asks you for a domain name. But you want to make sure onthefly.com is there. Then website, you want to, if it's not already created, you want to go ahead and create your web domain name.com. You also want to make sure you have an FTP account. If you don't have one, create one. And then your database, you're going to go SQL Server 2008, and you're going to create a username first. In this case, we created DNN_Schultz-Crehan. And then you're going to create a database, and in this case we did DNN_Schultz-Crehan. The create database, you basically type in your name and select the user, and then you hit save. Make sure you write down those settings, because you're going to need those when you're setting up the dotnetnuke website. The next thing we're going to do is download dotnetnuke. So we're going to go to dotnetnuke.com. In order to download the software, you have to have an account. So if you don't have an account already, go ahead and register. If you do, go ahead and log in. I'm going to go ahead and log in. So now that I'm logged in, I'm going to go ahead and download. And I'm going to download the Community Edition. And I'm going to download the install package. You see where you can download. You can use the web platform installer, but I haven't had much luck with that yet. I just like to download the install package. Hit I agree. You're going to go ahead and hit save, and you're going to save it to your desktop. Okay, so now that the download is completed, we're going to go ahead and extract those files. So I'm going to minimize this and right click, extract. Now these are the dotnetnuke installation files. Now the best way to upload files to a dotnetnuke site, FileZilla, and Windows Explorer is not the best for managing and editing your files. So if you'll see here, I've already connected to cp.staunchhosting.com, username and password, and I just used Quick Connect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up our folder here. I'm going to select all, and I'm just going to drag those right over this www root. So I'm in www root over here, so I'm just going to drag these over, and it's going to start uploading all the files. So the last file here is finishing up. That took maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes to copy all the files over. Okay, so now we have set up our DNS from GoDaddy, pointed it to the Staunch hosting servers. We've set up the website, cp.staunchhosting.com. We've set up the database using our SQL 2008 database configuration. We set up a database user, and we copied the files over via FTP. So now we should be able to go to www.ontheflyonline.com, and it should bring up the dotnetnuke installation wizard. Okay, so our installation wizard comes up, so we're just going to do a typical next. It's going to check the permissions of the folder. Next. And now we're going to choose SQL Server 2008 database. Our server is going to be 192.168.0.62. Our database is going to be dnn_Schultz Crehan. Now remember, the database name, we named it DNN, but in the configuration utility it had an underscore Schultz Crehan associated to it. We're going to use SQL authentication, so dnn_Schultz Crehan. Next. And you can see it successfully updating here. And now we hit next. And now you're going to create your super user account. Now this is the host. So this allows you to create multiple portals under your account. So we're going to say and for the security of this site, I'm going to go ahead and skip the username and password fields. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll hit next after that. For your mail server settings, if you have your own email server that you'd like to use, you can. Or we have a free email server called smarthost.coxmail.com. It's just our ISP allows us to relay email through that. Like I said, if you have your own email server and you'd like to authenticate and send out using your email server, you can do that. And now you want to create the local administrator account. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and set these up and then hit next. So now it says, congratulations, you've successfully built your .NET Nuke. So we're going to hit start building your new site. And you want to make sure you write down your username and password, both the admin and the host account. Welcome to .NET Nuke. You can now log in and use your site. Thank you very much. I hope this video is useful for you.